well as redevelopment. And I would ask the city attorney if he would report on closed session, please.
Good evening, Mayor and Council members. The City Council is in closed session first as the redevelopment agency to discuss real property matters, and the council provided directions to its real property negotiator, the city manager. And then the City Council is also in closed session as a City Council under Conference of Legal Counsel anticipated litigation, and there's no reportable action relating to that matter.
Thank you. We will have a moment of silent prayer, and that will be followed by the flag salute by PAC 28. Oh, wait, sorry. That was just a test. We're going to have roll call first.
Councilmembers Powers.
Here.
Singleton.
Here.
Shelton.
Here.
Cruz.
Here.
Payne.
Here. Now, everybody can. A moment of silent prayer. And Troop 28.
Please remove all non-scouting headgear, all headgear. Color guard, prepare to post the colors. Color guard, post the colors. Salute. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. 2. Color guard dismissed.
Thank you, PAC 28. Could the city clerk please read the video statement?
Yes, this meeting of the Galt City Council is being videotaped in its entirety and will be cablecast without interruption on Metro Cable 14, the Government Affairs channel on the Comcast and SureWest cable systems. Tonight's meeting can be seen on Channel 14 and will also be webcast at www.sacmetrocable.tv this Friday and Saturday mornings at 9 a.m. Tonight's meeting can also be seen via live video streaming on the city's website at www.ci.galt.ca.us. A VHS copy is also available for checkout from any library branch. Members of the audience wishing to address council should fill out a speaker identification form and give it to the clerk. Please speak into the microphone when addressing council and state your name for the record.
Thank you. Agenda approval, additions or deletions, please.
One change under the Public Works Department. I'd like to pull number 2, contract change order for West Elm or widening, and bring that back at the next council meeting.
Number 2, under Public Works.
Item G2.
G2. And consent calendar, is anyone wishing to pull anything off of that?
I do. And this is just for a little bit of information. I'd like to pull 5 and 7, though I'm going to vote yes on both of them, and Greg was aware of why I was doing it. When I see large numbers, like the 209,000 and 120,000, I think it would just be good to give like a few sentences on where the money's coming from, what it's for, and you know, especially since one of them has to do with water and $209,000.
And I would like to pull item 4 just to read to the public.
Okay, where do we go?
So I will begin. Oh, wait. Okay. We'll do presentations now. This is the crime prevention program by the Galt Police Department.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the council. I appreciate the opportunity to be here before you this evening to kind of give you an update on the crime prevention program here in the city. This is a program, I think the city manager is kind of wanting to expand on some of the programs that we have going on in the city to just let the council know, because we have some new members, and also the citizens of Galt. So this is one of the programs that we want to make you aware of and let you know what's going on and what it's doing and how it's impacting the community. I'm going to let TJ do most of the presentation, but let me introduce you to him, and I don't know if he needs much of an introduction because I don't think that there's anybody that I've met in the community that hasn't worked with TJ, knows TJ and the work that he does, or has been involved in something that he's working with. So I will tell you that he is the crime prevention program coordinator for the city, and he works out of the police department. We hired him in 2006 as the crime prevention coordinator under the then STEP program. And since then, he has taken the program to great heights, and it's really been a successful program for him. So we're going to highlight just 4 areas. This is not all-inclusive of what he does, but we thought just for time's sake, we're just going to focus on the 4 main areas that he's probably the most well-known for, the most prolific in the city. So I'm going to let him do all the talking. I'm going to run the PowerPoint. We'll try to keep both of us on task, and we'll keep it short, but afterwards we'll, of course, answer any questions.
Thank you, Council. I promised Lieutenant Updegrove I would keep this short. So I'm Italian, so I can go all night, but I promised him I wouldn't do that. So if we go to our first slide, Introduction to Crime Prevention, just the basic philosophy. If you just look at the first slide, I'm not going to really read line by line, but we get an idea. The crime prevention program is to focus on developing long-term community solutions. That's our goal when we work with our community, be it schools, faith-based, service organizations, whoever wants to come on board with us, we're going to help you create solutions, and that's the goal. And as Lieutenant Updegrove stated, we really kind of broke it down to 4 components tonight. Neighborhood watch, working with neighbors to develop better communication with themselves and with us. Our POP program, that's a program that we started in 2011. That's a great program that is involved in identifying issues early in the neighborhood. It's problem-oriented policing and getting all entities involved. Code enforcement, public works, law enforcement, you name it, we'll bring them on board so we can go into the neighborhood and identify issues. Character counts, that is a foundational program that we feel is going to create long-term reduction in crime. We're working with our 5th graders. We're in our 5th year of the program. Incredible program, great feedback, and it's really close to my heart because I think that's where we're making the most impact. Our crime analysis, that's kind of where we pull it all together. We're looking at reports. We're looking at the information we're getting from neighborhoods. We're looking at information we're getting from our kids, and we're kind of pulling it all together into where do we need to go next? What do we need to attack? So it's a pretty positive step in kind of pulling everything together. Neighborhood Watch, this program by itself. Before I get started, there's actually somebody I'd like to recognize that's actually here tonight, Noni Garcia. Incredible lady. She's really been the one that's helped us kind of spearhead and kind of revamp Neighborhood Watch. We started in Meadowview 5 years ago, and that's been basically the jump-off point for everything we do.
Noni, would you like to stand up so we can recognize you? Sorry.
She's like my second mom, and if you guys ever are hungry, like in the mornings, you go to her house and she'll feed you with chorizo and eggs and potatoes, so you can't beat it. So Leslie is here. That's service organizations. We're getting them involved Tuesday nights as the weather gets better. The Grange Hall is going to be open from 6 to 7. and we're going to be just using that as a kind of a drop-in place. If you have issues in the central area of the city, please come talk to us. We're here for you. Terrier Spars has been involved. We have so many people that have stepped up to help us turn neighborhoods around. It's been a great success.
Leslie, you want to pop up?
Leslie can stand up too.
We need to recognize you too. we love you both.
Just the success of the programs has contributed to dedicated citizens who are willing to work with us, work with their neighbors, and police to identify and prevent crime. It's really that simple. And we have a lot of great neighborhoods that have come together. And the biggest thing that I've enjoyed is I've seen neighborhoods now start to work with each other. Perfect example is Noni's neighborhood and Terry Spars. It's Woody Hope and Meadowview, 2 miles apart, but in the last 3 or 4 years, they've worked collectively together to help us solve issues in well over a dozen neighborhoods. So it's been a great benefit to get people together. To start the program, you can contact me at the police department, and we'll go out, we'll do home visits, we'll do whatever we need to do to help you guys turn things around if you got issues in your neighborhood. Next slide. This is our problem-oriented policing. This really started in 2011. We did our first run-through in the Meadowview neighborhood. We're doing our second run-through tomorrow with the Windy Hope to Oak Avenue, and that's where we take, as I stated, every city agency that comes aboard with us, Public Works, Code Enforcement, Law Enforcement, Fire, if they can come out, and we door-to-door what's going on in the area, abandoned properties, graffiti, vandalism, code enforcement issues, and it's kind of a quality of life approach, but we're also looking at, are we missing anything in this area? And it's been a major success. Cal Waste was incredible. They've donated 2 40 cubic yard bins to the Meadowview neighborhood to a location that needed some serious cleanup. The first bin was picked up last Thursday. The second bin was dropped on Friday. They're willing to work with us throughout the year to help us identify issues in our neighborhoods. So Cal Waste really needs to be recognized for stepping up like they did, and it's a great partnership that's been developed because of introducing POP and getting them on board with us. So we really enjoyed that.
They are here too, in the audience.
Jack's right there.
And Dave.
So come on.
Jack and Dave.
Yeah,
Dave.
thank you. So again, I can't thank Jack enough for what they've done. It's been a tremendous asset. This is really organized through all of us, not just myself and code enforcement, but our lieutenants, the chief. It's a supportive effort that we're all getting involved. Patrols involved, detectives. It's just a great way to walk into a neighborhood and create that sense of community spirit. When they see the support, we get that support back. So it's a great way to execute community policing. Character counts. This is I go back. We believe this is our foundational program for our outreach. It focuses on 6 pillars of character: trust, respect, responsibility, fairness, caring, and citizenship. We begin it at the 5th grade level. It's an 8 to 10 week program. We target at-risk behavior, gang issues, drug issues, stop and think model. We're just trying to get the kids to understand your actions create consequences. And we use real-world issues, what's going on in our city, what's going on in our schools, and what you can do to avoid that. And we really have kids buying into it. It's really been a tremendous program. I want to share something with you. Jennifer Gross, our record supervisor, shared a phone call she had about 2 weeks ago from DOJ. And I asked her if I could share it with you guys. She said, yeah, please do. They called her on our juvenile arrest rates, and they go, something must be wrong, Jennifer. And she's like, no. They go, your arrest rates have gone down tremendously, and this year just basically ridiculous. There's got to be something wrong. She goes, no. She goes, in the past 4 or 5 years, we've gotten heavily involved in our schools. And the response to Jennifer was like, keep doing what you guys are doing. So that's great validation coming from DOJ. So that was pretty positive. So next slide, please. This is our program we do in the middle school. It's our RAISE program. It's a program that I sat down one day, and it's an offshoot of our character counts, and it's respect all individual schools and education. It was developed strictly for the middle school. The goal is to prepare middle school students for early adulthood. We take a day every Friday about 8 weeks, and we block a whole day off. I'll bring guest speakers in from the high school, adults that I've met that have turned it around, coming in, and we've seen tremendous impact at McCaffrey Middle School. Principal Raymer's been a tremendous asset. Our Pastors on the Premise program is also kind of part of this total approach to creating a safe school environment. This model has helped reduce our juvenile arrest rates, as I stated, and it's continually going down. And it's where we're going to get our most bang for our buck long term by continually working with our kids. And it's been like I said, it's been real positive right now, and we love what we're doing there, and we're getting great feedback from the schools. So it's a lot of fun going out there and working with the kids. Next slide. Crime analysis. This is we've been doing this unofficially for about 3 or 4 years, but we kind of officially started really putting it together, and it's just really looking at all data, everything from our catalogs, which is a call that comes in for service that doesn't generate a report, but it might be a call for suspicious activity or a suspicious vehicle in an area. Start to log that and track that, because that could be a precursor to crime. So we look at that. We identify, does that suspicious vehicle call have anything to do with this crime that happened 2 hours later? And we try to really start to build a model, and we've actually started kind of using it recently to put together a tactical approach and some issues that we're identifying, and it's been beneficial already. We'll look at everything, like I said, crime analysis from a city standpoint, connecting to agencies outside the region, within the region, to see if the same things are happening, and using all that data to create, those short-term fixed solutions in an area that we can reduce crime, and then looking at the long-term by getting the neighborhood involved to say, okay, once we've identified it, let's make sure it doesn't happen again. So that's kind of where the crime analysis tool comes into play, and it's been very effective. In summary, the Police Department Crime Prevention Program facilitates these programs and others to focus on all aspects of the community. Through this proactive approach as a community, we're able to collectively bring together our knowledge, talents, and resources to improve the quality of life for our Galt citizens. We see the approach we've taken in our schools, teaching our youth to care about their school, neighborhood, and community, along with the collaborative effort between public, private, volunteer, faith-based organizations that have contributed to sharp decrease in our crime and criminal activity within our community. It's been a lot of fun. A lot of work, but a lot of fun. We got a great community that's willing to step up when we need their help and we ask for their help. And at this time, any questions from anybody or any comments?
Any questions?
I think you ought to be commended for this. I like collaborative efforts with, the more you get involved with everyone in the city that gets involved, and you have a great collaboration going, and my thanks to everyone that is working to do this.
And I had recognized you a couple years ago, as you remember, and you have just taken that and just turned everything over tenfold. You've done a great job, along with the great leaders in our community, Noni and all the neighborhood watch captains and folks that have helped. Thank you very much for improving our neighborhoods. My hands off to you.
CJ, when you started out with the neighborhood watch programs, and I know Noni, you were the instrumental person, but how many do we have now? Because I know we have neighborhood, and you've been working with some of the commercial buildings.
Yeah, one of the things, Randy, that the one thing I've learned, and this is just for me, neighborhood watch is fluid. We started 60 programs since the inception 5 years ago as we revamped it. Some programs, hey, we fixed their issues, they're still there, and when we need to come together, we will. Other neighborhoods are more active, but the infrastructure's in place now. Their email alerts go out to them,
right?
At least twice a week about what's going on in your areas. Pay attention to this. So there's a great communication tree that's been created. Whether we meet on a regular basis or not, they're communicating with each other, and they're calling us. That's if anything else, if nothing else happens, that's what we want Neighborhood Watch to do. Make sure you communicate with each other and get that information to us. And that's been the biggest benefit, and that's why we've seen a decrease in criminal activity in our city. It's really attributed to our community. We're just the kind of the liaisons that make it happen. So.
Good. Well, I say to you, thank you, and thank you to the members of the public, because it took you guys to put it together, along with your coordination.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks.
Any other questions?
Mark, do you want to?
I just want to say, TJ, you're doing an outstanding job. Of course, I wasn't surprised working with you for about 5 or 6 years. I mean,
thank you.
Full of a lot of good ideas, and they're coming to fruition. I like it.
Thank you. I appreciate it very much. It's the support of the lieutenants and our chief. That's where it comes from. The freedom to let me develop and move forward with a little bit of a little bit of coaxing here and there. So, but I enjoy it. I enjoy it. Yeah, I've worked with Mary Lou, and it's been a lot of fun. Been a whole lot of fun.
Good job, TJ.
Thanks.
Thank you guys. I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Lieutenant Updegrove and TJ. It's great opportunity to get to know our police department in more depth, more than just getting the little tickets and things. It's nice to see. Never. Anyway, we appreciate this opportunity to see what you really do. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right.
Yeah, he asked earlier.
Yeah, he needs the microphone.
Randy.
So we need this? What happened to the program where we catch the bad guys, put them in jail, and keep them there? What happened to that program? Well, I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it because I have a son that's been in trouble with the law for 4 years now. Never seen the inside of a jail. The only thing I ever see is bills when I get the fine from the stuff that he's done. And nobody does anything about it. I got other examples. I had a drug dealer living right down the street from my house for over a quarter of a century that I told the police about. Randy Parsons. Thank God he died from a heart attack last year. And I said, thank God. Just like I'd say, thank God that Hitler's dead. What happened to those kind of programs? Instead of building steakhouses, let's get some money together, build a jail to keep these people in. What's wrong with a program like that?
Thank you.
Thanks, you guys.
Thank you, guys.
Bye,
Very
guys.
much.
Okay. Ready for public comment?
Right. Okay, under Government Code Section 54954.3, members of the public may address the council on non-agenda items. Speakers may also address council on any agenda item during consideration of the item. Speakers shall restrict their comments to issues that are within the subject jurisdiction of the City Council and limit comments to a maximum of 5 minutes. Please fill out a speaker sheet located on the table inside the entrances to the council chambers and forward the completed speaker sheet to the city clerk. First, we have, let me put that on, okay, Rick Walters. After Mr. Walters, Al Baldwin.
Good evening, Council. My name is Rick Walters, and I have a prepared speech. My remarks tonight concern the forced retirement of 2 staff members, Boyce Jeffries and Kurt Campion, and a police sergeant who was demoted and stripped of $18,000. In my opinion, after years of service to this community, these gentlemen deserve more than being kicked to the curb and treated like used garbage on a warm day. This decision was signed, sealed, and delivered with a telephone call, and then placed on the consent calendar where benign business items are placed for a predetermined vote. It is the nature of this predetermined vote that is in question. These forced retirements and demotion was based on the recommended operating budget, and after reviewing this 2010 to 2012 budget, I noticed a conflicting statement by our city manager which states the following, quote, "In developing this budget, staff has maintained 2 primary objectives as previously identified by the City Council. 1, avoid layoffs of current city employees, and 2, fully fund the general fund and reserves." End of quote. This budget of 2010 to 2012 continues with the following statements. Quote, "I am pleased to report that this budget accomplishes both of these objectives." End of quote. That was May or June of last year. Saving money seems to be the driving force behind these forced retirements and demotion. So the next logical question or questions would be, did all employees go through this budget analysis? And if not, why not? Did the City Council address the increased health and retirement issues by CalPERS? While the past 2 years have gone by fast, the next question would be why? Why did we hire a full-time attorney, an assistant city manager, a public works mid-manager, allocate another $500,000 for a new wastewater plan, appropriate capital for non-essential capital improvement projects, and move forward with a redevelopment agency land grab worth $17 million? Seems to me like it's business as usual. The police officer was, in my opinion, thrown into the mix to make these retirements look normal, but there are two questions that need to be asked. One, why wasn't this issue handled internally by the police chief? And two, are we now seeing this new council engaged into the daily running of the police department? Now, getting back to the forced retirements, I believe this whole entire process was a rush to judgment by our city council. This issue has all the makings of a process that was not predicated on budget saving, but the product of two employees who were asked to give their best representation on two difficult and controversial issues. So what were these issues? One, the horse riding park north of Twin Cities Road, and two, the retirement community west of our wastewater treatment plant. It is well known that these two issues were pet projects of Councilwoman Barbara Payne. We will never really know why these dedicated men were forced from their positions. But whatever the reason, their lives are now changed forever. And the process which made these changes is now suspect, and this council is now on notice. I believe that 27 years of service means something more than a free box to put their personal items into. I can't shake this feeling that something is just not right with this council. And when I leave a council meeting, I should feel clean and satisfied with the way the people's business was handled. Unfortunately, this is no longer the case. And thank you.
Al Baldwin, then after Mr. Baldwin, Ted Anderson.
Al Baldwin, you know, the concerned citizen of Galt, the guy that's concerned about just about everything. Because I live in a city of character, and it was sure nice to hear TJ talk about it, because the schools are involved, and he's involved with the schools, and he's doing a great job. And character is number one, and that keeps crime down, by the way. I went to a meeting March 30th. It was the vision of Central Galt, and it was pretty informative. They showed PowerPoint. They showed what the C Street would look like coming off the new overpass and going all the way down to Lincoln and then into Old Town. Very encouraging, very good. There was two people there, our mayor, Barbara Payne, and Jason Berman, our city manager, for a short time. No questions were asked of them, though. They left a little bit early. The thing is it was such a good positive thing to see how all this stuff is going to be going on. We're going to have swings, parks, trees in Old Town. It's going to be stores, shopping centers type thing where you can go and shop anywhere, you might say. It's outside. The C Street coming into town, it's going to be trees and landscaped. On and off the street, you can go into stores and shop. You can walk, have a bike lane. It's going to be it's just going to be an ideal city. And it looked really good, and I was real happy to see something like that going on in Old Town and Lincoln Way, of course, because we just don't have anything right down there now. We have a little bit, but not very much. So this is pretty encouraging. And the question came up, and I brought it up too, of course, you know. And I was wondering how we're going to pay for it. But then after a while, we got to thinking, and it was in the paper, by the way, too, in the Lodi paper, Lodi Sentinel, about using redevelopment money, and it was from the $17 million that we got a bond for, which is you know, that's nice. We have money. The concern was, are we going to use it for this? And they couldn't give direct answers. It was just trying to show us what we'd like to see. We suggested things, and they made up things, and it was just beautiful. It really was. The thing is we got this bond, but we have to pay 8% on it. And the big question came up, and a few people have asked me this. I can't answer them, but it's 8%, and who pays that 8%? I don't know how you're going to get it. Maybe from if you buy the property, like it said in the paper down there, and maybe you can develop it and get it going, maybe that'll pay for part of the 8%. I don't know how it's going to be. Hopefully, you'll be able to buy that property if you need to and develop it and get it going. And there's a lot of businesses down there that need fixing, earthquake, structures, walls, cement that it's standing on, the foundation. There's an awful lot of redevelopment that needs to go on in those areas, unless you just level it and start from scratch, which you could, I guess. But I was encouraged to hear one thing, too, that the question was brought up about the quiet zones. And that was answered, that this will be all in the estimate. We've got some things going on the money, and we're going to check into it. And we may have quiet zones all along the corridor right there in Old Town, which was great. I mean, this is wonderful. So it looked beautiful. It was nice to hear. Everything was going. I don't know when. I asked how long. They can't tell you that. But it was nice to at least see the forethought and the future ahead of us, which can be. And it all starts with the overpass, I think. And then I saw you're buying a lot of the businesses down there, and I just I guess, you know, you could use eminent domain if you had to, they said, or it said in the paper. And I sure hope you don't have to do that, and you can still negotiate if you do want the property without using something like that. But the main concern was, is how are we going to get the 8% to pay for the bond? And no one has brought that up. No one suggested it. No one's talking about it yet. It would be nice if you could bring it to the public and be open and transparent on this thing, because it's $17 million, and $9 million of it's open for brand new projects. So I'd just like to know how the repayment's going to be. It's over 20 years, so it's not going to hurt us much, right? So it's just a matter of a lot of money, and a lot of things have to go on very quickly. 20 years isn't that far off, and to get things going and then to get businesses down there. So I appreciate all the communication you've had with it. Looking forward to futures. Thank you.
Ted Anderson, then
Just
Dan
answer
Jimenez.
that question really quick. There's sufficient funds available in the redevelopment area from the property tax that's generated down there without any need to increase any types of taxes or rates in the future. There is sufficient funding available within the redevelopment project area to repay the bonds at the rate.
Ted Anderson, 917 Scarletwood Court. I'm Icelandic. I'm not Italian. So when I get frustrated, the first thing I want to do is take a broad axe and go after my enemy. So my wife has to calm me so that my heritage won't take place. So I have known as the parable of Ted Anderson. There was a city council at one time, and there were some new members and there were some old members, and they were starting out in the first year of their organization, and they wanted to find all these things that they wanted to do for the city. But some of the council people had some problems with some of the department heads. So they went to the manager and they said, you know, we don't like these department heads. Can't you see if there's some way that we can get rid of them? The manager, to his credit, said, well, we have two types of employees in the department. We have for cause and we have at will. At will employees are those that have a contract, but we can release for any cause whatsoever. The at-will individuals don't have a contract, but they must be released only for cause. And if we can't come up with a cause, we can't release them. So the council and the manager think, we got to find some way that we can do this. So the budget wasn't going too well, and they decided that maybe we should reduce some of the money in the budget. So they're going through, and he looked in the personnel policy, and he said, I found something. We can do a layoff. And the city policy says, the last one's hired would be the first one that would be laid off. And they start thinking, well, that would be okay, but if we only want to release two individuals, that's not going to work. So we need to find something else to do. So he went through the personnel policy a little while later, and he looked and he noticed that There were certain people that there was only one in that category. And these two department heads were the only ones in that category. So if they did a layoff, it was permitted by the personnel policy. It's not the normal procedure because usually the last one's hired or the first one's out. But because there's no one else in there, I think we can use this to take these individuals and we'll eliminate their positions and we can make it to work. So they all went back together again and they thought, wow, this is wonderful. We found an answer to our problem. So they put a notice in the paper and they said, we're going to do this, but we're going to give, we're going to try and give a golden handshake. We're going to provide some money for these two people so that at least they can get 2 more years of PERS, which will probably add about maybe $300 a month to whatever they're going to make. We're going to take 20% of their earning power away because they're 55 and they can still go for 10 more years. They will lose that. They probably won't have health insurance, but at least we can find a way to meet the council's needs and the manager's needs. This is the parable of the two department heads. Now, is it legal to do? Yeah, there's a lot of things that you do that are legal that may not be morally right and that you shouldn't do. What's different about this is you laid off employees with almost 30 years of service. You didn't go through the normal process. You didn't advertise it. You didn't identify who they were. You waited till you approved the golden handshake, and then you identified who they were. You got them in a position where there's nothing else that they can do, because if they were for-cause employees, you'd have to have a public hearing. They would have the right to meet their accusers and find out why it is that you're getting rid of them, and you'd have to go through a process. And that's not what you did. It's all right if the manager wants to choose new department heads, he can. What he should do is go to the for-cause ones and say, we'd like to make a change. I'd like to have my own people here. That's legitimate. And when you do a golden handshake, if you look at almost 95 or 99% of the cities, what they do, they put an advertisement out there for everybody that's 55 or over, say, if you're interested, we're going to have a golden handshake. We'll give you 2 extra years if you'd like to retire. Then you take them on a first-come, first-served basis. That's not what you did. You up front selected 2 individuals that you wanted to do, and you put them in the process, so there was no other recourse. This is not a high time for the Galt City Council. You didn't take the high road. You took the easy road and you took the low road. I feel bad about that because I spent 11 years of my life trying to make this city professionally and to do it in the right way. Now, I'll stop there. Anybody will have to live with whether their decisions were. I would like to congratulate Kurt Campion and Boyce Jeffries for having the fortitude to spend 27 years of their life working with this city. 27 years. It doesn't matter whether you like them or you dislike them. They spent 27 years working for this city. What you've done is told them, we don't care about your 27 years. We don't care about your kids that don't have health insurance. We don't care that this is the worst time in our lifetime to find a job, and everybody else is cutting back, and the statement that it was easier for younger people to get by than those that are older is absolutely wrong. It's absolutely the opposite way.
Thank you, Mr. Anderson, for your comments.
Too bad. I feel bad, and I hope that the council understands what they've done, and I say thank you.
Dan Jimenez, and after Mr. Jimenez, Fred Irons.
Dan Jimenez, and I live in the city. Normally I wouldn't come up here 2 meetings in a row on the same issue of employee retirement program. But this issue has taken on a life of its own, mainly because of the poor way it was handled from the start. What I have here is a copy of the Brown Act. And I'd like to read something, because on page 1, right away, it clearly states under basic law, the people of this state do not yield their sovereignty to agencies that serve them. The people in delegating authority do not give their public servants the right to decide what's good for them to know, and what's not good for them to know. The people insist on remaining informed so they may retain control over the instruments they have created. Now, after I read this, I really feel, Jason, you used extremely poor judgment when you said in the paper that he is not required to conduct budget business related to employees in the public's eye. You also went on to say that you didn't believe there needs to be a public forum where people come and scream and yell to defend an employee. That ain't right. Continuing on with this Brown Act handbook, and this is the law. Maybe you guys should take time to read it. The serial meetings may be a daisy chain in which member A contacts member B contacts member C, and so on until a quorum and collective concurrence has been established, a hub and spoke process in which, for example, an agency attorney, the hub, telephones members of a redevelopment agency, the spokes, one by one, on a decision on a proposed action prior to a formal meeting, and in the process reveals information about the members' respective views, also violates the Brown Act. So, I'm no lawyer, obviously, but after reading this statement, when Jason said that he contacted each council member by phone, and all of yous agreed to his budget balancing plan, in this instance, Jason acted as the hub, and you acted as the spokes. I don't know, but this sure seems like a violation of the Brown Act. Like I said, I'm no lawyer, but this really is a form of consensus building before the vote was taken at the March 1st council meeting, especially since no one from the council had anything to say after they cast their vote in favor of it. So, I want you to remember, we do not yield our sovereignty to the public servants to decide what is good for the people to know and what is not good for us to know. I went a step further, and I Googled the internet just to find another definition for sovereignty, and lo and behold, this is what I found. The doctrine that the people are sovereign and the government is subject to the will of the people, not the other way around. Now, having said that, one of the things that I feel is missing, and I've seen over the years coming here, and not only this council, but other councils also, is we, the citizens up here, elect people like you, who in turn hire people like them. All of a sudden, once you're in office, the whole thing gets turned around, and now the people are no longer in control. And that has to change. It has to change starting tonight. There's also another law called the California Open Meeting Law, and I was just reading it the other day. And it also has, in there it states that there is a vehicle for citizens that if they don't feel that the process, the council, or the city manager has taken and we feel left out of the process, we can write a complaint letter, and that will go to the Attorney General. Thank you.
Fred Iron.
Thank you, Dan.
After Mr. Irons, June Gilmore.
Madam Mayor, before we have the next speaker, can I make a few comments?
Yes, please do.
I want to address the comments made by the last speaker, which alluded to or made allegations that there were violations of the Brown Act by either the City Council or the City Manager. First point that needs to be made is that the City Manager has the authority to lay off employees. So there was no City Council action, either in open session or in closed session, to lay off employees. The personnel rules of the city, the Galt Municipal Code, provide that all employees hired by the city work for the manager. He has the authority to hire them, to fire them, to demote them, to lay them off. That authority rests with the manager and not with the council. The second part is the offer of the retirement incentive, which is the PERS 2-year additional service credit, is required to be done in open session and approved by the City Council. It's a 2-step process. The cost of the proposed program was made public at the March 1st City Council meeting, and the offer of the retirement incentive to the Community Development Director and the Parks and Rec Director was approved at the March 15th City Council meeting. So, from my perspective, there was no Brown Act violation by either the City Council or the City Manager, and any actions required to be taken in order to offer the PERS incentive program or to lay off employees in this city was done in accordance with law.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr.
My name is Fred Irons. I'm a resident of Galt, live over on Lake Canyon Avenue on the east side. I've got 2 items, one of which I know you guys can handle, the other one I don't know about. In the March 31st Stock and Record, there was a advertisement, I have it here, soliciting people that want to have, that are 62 or older, to have their Mello-Roos obligations reduced. Oak Grove already has this in place, and I appeared before the council 5 years or so ago and asked about that, and I was directed to go and talk to the people over at the school districts. One of them, in the elementary side, invited me to get rid of my house and sell it to someone who could afford to live in the wonderful town of Galt. So I don't know. That wasn't really something I could do at that time. Now the house is worth half of what we paid for it in 2004. I'm a senior citizen. I'm 72 years old. Fixed income. We're not getting any more Social Security, and I was just wondering, is there any mechanism, or can you direct me to see about getting a reduction on the Mello-Roos? The second thing is, I would like to find out what we can do about the speeding on Lake Canyon Avenue. Barbara, you're familiar with it because you were out there walking around and you stood there on the corner with another fellow and myself, and we watched these people just, go up and down like mad down the street. This is between Fermoy and the school. The suggestion was made to the chief 8 or 9 months ago or so about putting in a set of the solar-powered radar flashing signs. And he said he thought there was some money available for that, but it seems to have dried up. I don't know what happened to that, but we would certainly like to have something done about that, or at least have a letter from the City Council to NASCAR to get some people down there to keep the speeds down. If they can do it on, a pit road, you guys could certainly do it on Lake Canyon Avenue between the school and Fermoy.
I would ask the city manager if he could maybe talk to the chief of police about enforcement on Lake Canyon and address his other concerns.
Yeah, I think on the speeding issue, we do have a public safety committee. This is the perfect type of thing to bring forward to that group. We have a couple council members that sit on that. We can agendize it for the next meeting and talk about that in addition to speaking with the chief of police and see what kind of avenues we can pursue to cut down on the speeding on that road. Certainly willing to look into that.
Well, this isn't the first time. I've been up here
Right.
7 or 8 times about this, and you go and put the trailer out there, and sometimes they're wonderful about putting the trailer out. They put it at the first house on the block, so when the people come around the corner, they're only doing 15, 20 miles an hour. It needs to be in the middle of the block. That's where the people are doing 40 and 50 miles an hour in a 25 mile an hour zone.
Sure. We can certainly try to address that. I'd asked our finance director, I'm not sure about the, prepared today to address the Mello-Roos question, but certainly willing to look into it and get back to you. We get your contact information and we can be in touch with you.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Thank you.
And it may be possible that the Public Safety Committee could look into it deeper.
Yeah, that's, I was making some notes.
Okay.
And if we can get Fred's phone number, and I'll give him a call.
Inez is gonna get it.
Inez.
So
Oh,
I'll
okay.
get it from her.
I'll just like,
Okay.
Fred, Inez is gonna get your information, and I'll give you a call in the next day or two and set up a meeting with you, okay?
Okay, June Gilmore, after Ms. Gilmore, Mary Chapman.
Good evening. Good evening. My name is June Gilmore. I live at 408 Maple Street. I've been a resident of Galt for over 30 years. And I am here tonight not to try and change your minds regarding your recent cuts in some manager positions that you have already voted on. I may not agree with them, but I have not been elected to make those decisions. You have. I'm here tonight to say thank you to a great Parks and Recs director and a special friend to many people in the community. When Boyce was first hired by the City of Galt to develop a Parks and Recreation program, he didn't even have an office, a desk, or a telephone. Rita Villarreal and I gave him a space at the Concilio, a desk, and the use of our telephone until he could get his own. He slept in his car for 2 weeks until he could afford a place to rent, and during that time, we still do not know who or why, somebody set it on fire. But did Boyce give up? No. He stuck it out. After 20 years, look around at what he has contributed to the City of Galt Recreation Department to date, just to name a few. A state-of-the-art aquatic program pool, a state-of-the-art Department of Recs building, a skate park, a beautiful city park in the northeast area, not to mention the numerous parks throughout our community. A spectacular 4th of July fireworks display. People come to Galt just to watch our fireworks display. How long has it been since you have heard complaints regarding the Galt market? My office used to be across the street, my home just 1 block over. And believe me, there were complaints. Since it has been under the management voice, I have not heard complaints from our local residents. Not only has he accomplished great things in the community, he has always been there for the seniors, the nonprofits, and other service organizations in this community. You could call Boyce at the last minute, and he would see to it that whatever your need was, it was taken care of. So Boyce, although it really saddens us that you are leaving the City of Galt, we wish you all the best, and you will always have the friendship of this community. Again, thank you, and here's a homemade plaque.
Okay, Mary Chapman.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm Mary Chapman. I live here in town. And first off, I just want you all to know that I agree with the gentleman that spoke first. I think what you've done is pretty crappy. And second, I'd like to know when you're going to put a stop sign on C Street and 5th Street, a 4-way stop sign, because it is so dangerous at that intersection. I've asked about it before. You've put stop signs all over here for people to stop for the flea market, but you won't put it down there at an intersection where it is so dangerous, whether you're walking or whether you're in a car.
Is that a public?
That's another one for you, Randy.
Candidate for Public Safety Committee.
I think we have City Councilman Randy Shelton that will be working with you on that.
Well, I'd like for something to be done, being it's been a couple of years since I brought it up.
You know when the next meeting is, Randy?
We'll do our best.
No, we just had one.
Yeah, we had one, so we...
You know when the next meeting is, Liz? Maybe you can, at the end of the meeting, you can announce it.
Next public safety.
Yeah.
We just had one.
Is it every other month?
Yeah,
Bi-monthly.
Have a special one.
Yeah, a special.
But I wrote it down.
I have it down here as May 23rd on this.
May
schedule.
23rd?
Yeah.
Yeah, show May 23rd.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's all the speaker sheet.
So 2 items.
Okay. Wow. So now we are going to the consent calendar. Would you like to read the items, please?
Okay, we have 7 items. Number 1, approval of the minutes of the special and regular meetings of March 15th, 2011. Number 2, approval of the City of Galt warrants. Number 3, destruction of records. Number 4, which was pulled and will be discussed, letter to Prime Minister Nato Kan from Japan. Number 5, which was pulled and will be discussed, award purchase of filter media for the rehabilitation of the Famasi, Industrial, and Carillion water treatment plants. Number 6, approval of the Treasurer's report for the period ending February 2011. And number 7, which was pulled for discussion, contract for construction inspection services.
Okay, I pulled item number 4 because I felt like because it's a letter from the council as well as the citizens of Galt that you ought to know about it. So with your permission, I will be reading it. The Honorable Prime Minister Nato Kan, care of Cabinet Secretary, Japan. The Honorable Prime Minister, His Excellency, it was with great shock and sadness that we learned of the massive earthquake and tsunami that has devastated Japan. On behalf of our community, we, the City Council of the City of Galt, California, United States of America, extend our deepest condolences and sympathies to you and your people in the wake of such tragic circumstances. We humbly offer our moral support to the people of Japan and hope for a swift and prosperous recovery to your nation. As Californians, we recognize and appreciate the enormous power and potential destructiveness of an earthquake. Still, it is impossible to fully anticipate and prepare for a natural disaster of the size and ferocity of the event that has befallen your nation. Under such conditions, it is imperative that the world reach out and provide assistance. We are a small city in the agricultural center of California, and we can sympathize with the towns and villages in the agricultural regions located along the coastline that has experienced such widespread destruction. During this difficult time, our citizens wish to extend their heartfelt condolences to the people of Japan. As the City Council, we have encouraged our citizens to extend their generosity and assistance by providing donations to internationally recognized organizations that are providing relief efforts to your nation. If there is anything else that we can provide you or the people of Japan at this time of dire need, please feel free to contact us at the address shown below, or by contacting our city manager, Jason Behrman. The number is given. And having read that, I would move for approval.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Opposed? Abstentions? Passed. And you, I think, pulled number 5?
Yeah, could you just give us a real quick thingy on why we're gonna spend $209,000 on a water tower?
Be happy to. Good evening, Mayor, members of the council. The next item is a recommendation for the city manager to execute a purchase agreement with Pure Flow Filtration for a filter meter in the amount of $209,040. All of our water comes from wells, and as part of the treatment process, we treat that water for manganese, iron, and now arsenic. The process is that we have specialized filters that contain a mined manganese dioxide ore, the special treated media that we purge the water through, and that media attracts the different minerals in the water. When we put in the arsenic improvements, as part of that process, we have to change the pH of the water. And in doing that, the lower pH of the water now is attacking the media, and it is destroying the media. We knew when we did that project that this would be an effect over time. What we didn't know was how fast that time would be. The specific media that we use is relative to the specific minerals that we're removing and the chemistry of the water. So we knew this was something that we would have to do. Frankly, we were hoping that we could put it off until next year and we put the money as part of the normal budget process. Following the implementation of the arsenic treatment, we started noticing problems at the treatment plants where the filter media wasn't being as effective in removing all of these three different chemicals, particularly the arsenic. Also, the filter backwash times were increasing, so we were wasting water through backwashing. And so we had the media inspected and found out at these three plants that it is in fact corroding and it's losing its effectiveness. So we put out a formal notice inviting bids. This is a very proprietary, specialized mineral that is mined. It is very expensive. We had two bids. One was $209,040. The other was $247,000. So we've recommended we award a purchase agreement to the lower contractor for the purchase of that material. My staff will do the installation at two of the plants, and we're going to have a contractor come in for about $12,000 to do the installation at the last plant. This is funded by the Water Service Fund, the ratepayers. Part of that enterprise funds, they have to pay for the process to treat the water. This is an ongoing maintenance cost that occurs every so often with media. This is not something you don't build a well one time and never have to touch it again. The media we're buying now is specialized media that will match the lower operating parameters, and so we won't be doing this again for a while. The funding is, as shown on the last page of the staff report, it is a lot of money. We have $60,000 each year proposed for filter rehab projects. We also had savings from the annual water well rehabilitation project and our Golden Heights well project of about $160. They're asking council to approve a transfer to fund this one-time purchase.
Thank you. And with that, I move that we accept item number 5.
I second.
It's been moved and seconded. We'll have a roll call vote on this.
Vice Mayor Powers?
Aye.
Councilmember Singleton?
Aye.
Councilmember Shelton?
Aye.
Councilmember Cruz?
Aye.
Mayor Payne?
Aye. Passed. And I think you also have the number 7.
Yes.
Councilman.
Okay. The next item is a recommendation that the city manager execute a contract with BLF Construction Inspection Services. This is for on-call as-needed construction inspection services for the remainder of this fiscal year and for the next fiscal year. We've put a not-to-exceed amount of $120,000 on this contract. What we're asking council to do tonight is just approve the execution of the contract, but there is no money attached. We will issue task orders for each project. Historically, we have used a contract inspector. It used to actually be a budgeted position in Public Works Department. With the implementation of the capital improvement program now, we froze that position, and we now fund this through money's program for the capital improvement projects themselves. I worked with Mr. Bianchini for years. He has a lot of experience. He's a very good inspector. We basically utilize him as a supplemental inspector when we have a lot of projects going at the same time, when we have outside funding sources that we can use to pay for his expenses, but not our own staff. We have a lot of projects coming up over the next fiscal year. My one inspector can't be everywhere, even though development is down. We have too much work going on. We also have sick days, furloughs, 9-day flex time, and so we were using Mr. Bianchini during those absences. And so we're asking the council basically authorize the contract. We did contract with him last year. That contract has expired. So this is just to get the contract in place as we need him going forward. All monies that will be used for Mr. Bianchini will be approved by the council as part of the upcoming budget process for the capital improvement program.
Thank you very much. And with that, I move to accept item number 7.
Is there a second?
I second.
Roll call vote, please.
Sure. Vice Mayor Powers?
Aye.
Councilmember Singleton?
Aye.
Councilmember Shelton?
Aye.
Councilmember Cruz?
Aye.
Mayor Payne?
Aye. Motion is passed. For the remainder of the consent calendar, I would entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Roll call vote, please.
Vice Mayor Powers?
Aye.
Councilmember Singleton?
Aye.
Councilmember Shelton?
Aye.
Councilmember Cruz?
Aye.
Mayor Payne?
Aye. The consent calendar has been approved. We will next go to scheduled matters. Kurt Campion.
Thank you. I believe this is a public hearing as well, though it's not noticed on the agenda. The item before you tonight is a follow-up from a February 1st meeting where staff presented a series of recommended changes to the zoning code to essentially streamline the development review process. We undertook an analysis of several of those that were contained within that report and presented those to the Planning Commission at their March 10th meeting, relating to the architectural review procedures, general permit procedures, and an amendment to the downtown specific plan as it relates to signs. I know that I went over this with you briefly, but for the benefit of the audience, I'll repeat some of the changes that we're talking about. The first dealing with the architectural review. Architectural review occurs under two scenarios. One, where property is zoned PD, which is planned development. That is restricted to only residential development or residentially zoned properties. And then the planned unit development can be residential, but it could also be non-residential development, which would be industrial, commercial, or public, quasi-public. Under the current process in the PD planned development combining district, floor plans and elevations are submitted to the Architectural Review Committee, which is composed of one planning commissioner, 2 council members. Once it is approved at that level, it then is usually it accompanies a tentative subdivision map that goes to the Planning Commission. The Planning Commission reviews it. They also can comment, make changes, and ultimately approve the architectural review, which is your floor plans and elevations for the individual developments. That occurs concurrent with the tentative map approval. It is also characterized as a rezone of the property. Under the proposed amendment for the plan development architectural review, we would eliminate the architectural review committee and have the floor plans and elevations basically go directly to the Planning Commission for review and approval. The second change to that process would be, instead of being approved at the tentative map stage, it would be delayed until the final map or public improvement plan approval, whichever occurs first. The reason for that is indicated in the report. Tentative maps can be good for up to 2 years. A developer may not know what market conditions are going to be when he develops in 2 years, or up to 6 years, because tentative maps can have a life of at least 6 years. Rather than making a forced decision at the time of the tentative map, it gives them additional time to consider those market changes, market demand, and submit those plans closer to when they're ready to develop, which is actually when they get their final map or improvement plans. Gives them a little bit more time. At that time, and prior to approval, it would go back to the Planning Commission. They would still have the public hearing. There would still be the 500-foot radius public notice. Neighbors would be invited to the hearing. They would have an opportunity to review. So it appears to be pretty much a win-win situation, both from the development community's point of view and from the property owner point of view, in that they would still have the opportunity to review, comment, and engage the commission in discussion. Those are the significant changes as it relates to the planned development district change. Under the planned unit development, which deals with all development, including residential, we have basically streamlined the process from what was rather cumbersome and lengthy. You would have, as indicated in the ordinance as it exists today, you have what you would have a preliminary plan submitted. It would go to the Planning Commission. The preliminary plan would then go to the City Council. Then, to get a final plan, you would go back to the Planning Commission with your final plan. The final plan would go to the Commission, then the Council, and then approval. We've basically eliminated the preliminary plan process. We've eliminated a lot of what is and was duplicate data and information that was required to be submitted as part of the project application. A lot of that was already covered under the site plan review provision, which is in Section 1868 of the Municipal Code, and that applies to all of your commercial and multifamily residential development. So we kind of looked at what's in 1868 and said, okay, that's what you have to do, and that's the process, which is not a change because that's what they had to do in the first place. Everything under the planned unit development division was in addition to site plan review. So basically we've reduced the number of requirements and the data to be submitted, and at the same time have preserved the level of review that's necessary to ensure that it's a good development when it happens. Under general permit procedures, a couple of minor things. We're recommending that the appeal period go from 14 days to 10 days. That's very standard. We provide some cleanup language as it relates to matters that can be referred by the planning director to the commission, as well as appeals from the planning commission to the city council. The proposed amendment to the downtown specific plan relates to signs. This is an issue that came up recently, and then specifically to the Brewster building. They had a large vertical sign that they wanted to hang on the corner of their building. Under the downtown plan, under the specific plan, it was limited to 8 square feet. Well, if you look at the size of that building, it's 2 stories, but it's almost the equivalent of 3 stories with the ceiling heights. We have provisions in the municipal code under signs that provide regulations that would allow for a larger sign that met the needs of the applicant and appears to be a more appropriate regulation rather than what was in the specific plan. It appeared to be too regulatory. So we're recommending that change. As far as all other conditions, or all of the 2 ordinances that are before you and the resolution, they're exempt under CEQA. As noted in the report, under the fiscal impact, most of the costs were associated with staff time. They can be absorbed within the existing budgets. You have a red line version of the changes that we're proposing, as well as clean copies. And I found one typo under ordinance 1852-060A2 should read appealed rather than applied, but for the record we need to note that, and then we'll make that change.
Could you say what that was again, kind of slower?
Yeah, it's 1852-060A2.
Okay.
And the word should be appealed rather than applied in that sentence.
Thank you.
That concludes my report unless there are questions by the council.
This is all good stuff, so we will open the public hearing on this. Comments? If not, we will close the public hearing and open it for discussion from the council. Any questions? Comments? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion.
I move to accept the recommendation. Thank you. I thought I was going to read all this, but no, and that was a very good job, Chris.
I'll second the motion.
I'm going to read the,
Okay.
I'm going to read the recommendation.
Yeah.
So the motion on the table, introduce and waive the first reading and read by title only an ordinance of the City of Galt repealing and replacing Chapter 18.24 of the Galt Municipal Code regarding combining zoning district regulations and specific plans. Number 2, introduce and waive the first reading and read by title only an ordinance of the City of Galt repealing and replacing Chapter 18.52 of the Galt Municipal Code regarding general permit procedures. And number 3, adopt a resolution of the City of Galt amending the DRHPSP, removing sign limitations of projecting signs, and adopting a California Environmental Quality Act exemption for said project.
We have a first and a second on this recommendation. Is there any other discussion? If not, I would have a roll call vote.
Okay, Vice Mayor Powers?
Aye.
Councilmember Singleton?
Aye.
Councilmember Shelton?
Aye.
Councilmember Cruz?
Aye.
Mayor Payne?
Aye. Moving on to City Council. I'm going to report on something that we're at this point calling a community gathering. That name may change in the future. We haven't found just the right name. Actually, one of our goals as a City Council has been to engage the community more. So we are planning similar to a town hall meeting on May the 9th. What's on the agenda is wrong. It is May the 9th at McCaffrey Middle School in the evening from about 6 to 8. We will have all of the elected officials there, including the 2 school districts. They have some new board members, as we have new board members. It'll give the community a chance to come out and meet them, talk to them one-on-one, face-to-face. When we're up here, it's a little bit hard to build relationships, even though we all have office hours, and we're always happy to have you come in and talk to us about anything. We're going to even provide food. So you can come out, meet your elected officials, talk to them, get to know them a little bit better so you feel comfortable with meeting them and discussing things with them in the future in a one-on-one basis. I would ask, that's the concept of it. I would ask for the council's approval of the concept or answer any questions. You like that?
Yeah.
Okay. Any other comments? Councilman Shelton, does it sound acceptable?
Very happy with it.
Okay. That's my report. Then we'll move forward with it. And I would add to that that I have talked to both the high school and the elementary school board and superintendent, and they are excited about the opportunity, especially the newly elected board members. They're excited to meet the community, and so I hope the community will come out and spend the evening with your elected representatives. Thank you. Oh.
Madam Mayor, I'd recommend that you entertain a motion to approve the date of May 5th.
May
And
9th.
Oh, May 9th,
May 9th.
I'm sorry. And the concept of the community gathering as described.
Okay, thank you. I would do so. I would entertain a motion to that effect, if anyone would like that.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstention? It is passed. Public Works Department is next. Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry, I missed that. Community Development Department.
Yes. Thank you, Mayor and City Council. As you know, the Galt wastewater treatment plant currently discharges treated effluent to Laguna Creek from November 1st through April 30th every year. During the other 6 months of the year, during the summer, that water is either reclaimed by crop irrigation or else it is held and stored in the storage reservoir. However, in late 2010, the Regional Water Quality Control Board granted the city a new operations permit for the wastewater treatment plant that authorized the city to discharge all year long. That approval was contingent on the city installing new tertiary filtration and UV disinfection facilities at the treatment plant. Those improvements were completed in January of this year, so our discharge now meets tertiary level treatment standards. Even though the regional board gave us approval to do year-round discharge, however, the project still is considered a project under the California Environmental Quality Act. So a CEQA analysis must be done before the city can actually commence year-round discharge. The proposed project that will be evaluated in that CEQA document is the city's discharge to Laguna Creek of up to 3 million gallons per day of tertiary treated effluent during the additional period of May 1 through October 31st every year. So basically that will give us year-round discharge. 3 MGD is the treatment capacity that is currently allowed under the state permit. The new permit does still require that the city reclaim water via crop irrigation on city-owned land to continue when feasible during the summer months, but all other treated effluents will be discharged. One of the possible environmental issues with initiating year-round discharge is whether adding water to Laguna Creek in the dry summer months will have any adverse impact on aquatic plant or animal species, particularly the fall run Chinook salmon. That channel is typically dry during the summer months, so this potential change in current conditions needs to be evaluated. CEQA work, therefore, will be proposed in 2 different phases. The first phase will be a hydrologic analysis to determine if there's going to be any connectivity caused to the lower reaches of the Cosumnes River as a result of our year-round discharge. If that turns out to be the case, it could possibly be a potentially adverse impact on the salmon or other species and require preparation of an EIR. We are assuming in the scope of work that it will not show connectivity, and we will then proceed with an initial study and a proposed mitigated negative declaration. However, that decision will be made at the end of May once we look at the phase 1 hydraulic modeling. If we have to come back to City Council, we would then come back with a modified scope of work and request additional funding to proceed with an EIR. Otherwise, we will proceed with the mitigated neg deck and come back to City Council in September. As I noted, we may have to come back probably in May or June and request to go into an EIR, but we are assuming that we can proceed with a mitigated negative deck. In order to find a consultant qualified to prepare the CEQA analysis, we issued a request for proposals on February 23rd, sent it to 5 consulting firms in the Sacramento region that have good expertise and knowledge in CEQA, as well as special status species, water and wastewater issues. The city received 2 proposals from that RFP. One was from RBI and the other was from MWH. Staff from Planning and Public Works evaluated those proposals and determined both firms were very well qualified to do the work. RBI had a lower cost and could complete the work about a month faster. Therefore, we are recommending that the City Council award the contract to RBI. The amount is not to exceed $60,335. I do need to apologize and make a correction to the financial impact section of the staff report as written. It currently recommends that the project be paid for out of Fund 07, the Wastewater Treatment Plant Facilities Master Plan. After some subsequent discussions, staff would like to change that recommendation to Fund 14, which is the Wastewater Capital Fund. Account number would be 014-1441-811-8679. There are also sufficient funds in that budget line. Staff would ask that the motion to approve the consultant include an acknowledgement of this revised funding source for the record. In addition to direct consultant costs, we've estimated about $7,000 of staff time from Planning and Public Works that was spent on the project from the RFP through the approval of the CEQA document. That will ultimately be abated to the wastewater fund. And that concludes my report. If you have any questions.
Any questions? Having none, I would ask the city clerk to read that with the amended notation.
Sandy, how do you want that recommendation to read?
I would just add at the end of the staff report recommendation in an amount not to exceed $60,335,000 from Fund 14, Wastewater Capital Fund, and then the account number that was noted.
So that the motion will be adopt a resolution authorizing the city manager to execute a contract with Robertson Bryan Incorporated for consultant services to prepare the California Environmental Quality Act analysis needed to initiate summer discharge at the Galt wastewater treatment plant in an amount not to exceed $60,335 from Fund 14 Wastewater Capital Fund?
Yes.
Is that okay?
That's it. Any discussion, further discussion? If not, I would entertain a motion.
I move we adopt the resolution.
Is there a second?
I second.
Been moved and seconded. Any other discussion? If not, I would ask for a roll call vote, please.
Okay, Vice Mayor Powers?
Aye.
Councilmember Singleton?
Aye.
Councilmember Shelton?
Aye.
Councilmember Cruz?
Aye.
Mayor Payne?
Aye. We will move on to communication. Do we have any written communication, city manager?
I have one. We received a letter from the County of Sacramento asking the city to join in an effort in forming a joint powers authority on homelessness, and they've asked for a couple of council members and myself to participate on that. What I will do is ask the clerk to place this on the next agenda, to agendize it so we can get a couple of council members if they're interested in serving on that. The meeting is scheduled, I believe, for April 27th. So our next meeting, I think, is the 19th, so that'll give us enough time to make the appointment and get up for that meeting.
Okay. Any other written communication? If not, we will adjourn to the redevelopment agency and roll call, please.
Okay, board members Powers?
Here.
Singleton?
Here.
Shelton?
Here.
Cruz?
Here.
Payne?
Here. Public comments.
I have no speaker sheets tonight.
Then we will move to the consent agenda. If you would like to read that.
Okay, we have 3 items. Number 1, approval of the minutes of the special and regular meetings of March 15th, 2011. Number 2, approval of the redevelopment agency warrants. And number 3, approval of the treasurer's report for the period ending February 2011.
Any discussion? If not, I'd entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Can we have a roll call vote?
Yes. Board member Powers?
Aye.
Singleton?
Aye.
Shelton?
Aye.
Cruz?
Aye.
Payne?
Aye. Okay. Next item, departmental. Departmental.
Yes.
Which department is
Okay,
that?
Community Development Department.
Center for Commercial
Okay.
Properties.
The item before you tonight, staff has basically two requests. One deals with the Simmerhorn property. As indicated in the report, preparing commercial property for development is identified in both the city's redevelopment implementation plan as well as the economic roadmap which the city has adopted. There are very specific policies that talk about market readiness for specific properties, which this one is identified. This is maybe I should back up, 46 acres between Bosso and Simmerhorn Road adjacent to Highway 99. We refer to it as the Simmerhorn commercial property. Implementing policies suggest that to the extent possible, the city provide cooperative working arrangements privately as well as publicly to ensure that these properties can develop. And those policies are found again in both of those documents. The second request deals with acquisition of properties in Old Town. That is also consistent with the redevelopment implementation plan as well as the economic development roadmap adopted by the city, wherein it talks about acquisition of properties to eliminate blighting conditions and to redevelop joint ventures and new construction in the downtown area to create jobs and to revitalize that area. More specifically, dealing with the Simmerhorn property, the property has been vacant for a number of reasons, and some of those reasons relate to specific conditions to the property, some of which are being remedied now, particularly in the area of traffic. Traffic and circulation has been a significant limitation to this property's development. With the installation of the C Street overpass and the A Street connection, that will alleviate much of the traffic conditions that otherwise would have been realized had you seen full development of the 46 acres. What we're suggesting in this report is to take a look at the 46 acres, factor in a phasing model how much development can occur, say, at the time the C Street, A Street interchange is improved, and what other ancillary improvements would have to occur in order to support some amount of commercial property and development on the property. Full development of that site was at one time planned in excess of 400,000 square feet, and that's a lot of retail. Maybe under the scenario where the interchange is improved and you've got a north-south connection to Simmerhorn, between Simmerhorn and Bosso, maybe you get 150,000 square feet of available retail based on the the traffic impacts that would result, because we do have some constrictions at Simmerhorn. We don't have the connections all the way over to the Carillion extension and then out to Marengo that are ultimately planned, and then further down to Bosso. So what we're recommending is that we undertake a modeling exercise to take a look and see how much development can occur, how much, and what are those traffic impacts, and then what a phased approach would be to addressing the needed off-site improvements to accommodate up to full development. We believe at this time that traffic is the biggest limiting factor, although there are other limiting factors in the area of sewer, water, and storm drain. We are recommending that those utility studies be done concurrent with this, with the traffic analysis under the same phased approach. Well, how much sewer capacity would we need? What's the availability and how much on-site water storage? Or do we have sufficient water to accommodate fire suppression needs? Because that's going to be a limiting factor, as well as on-site or off-site stormwater storage. So those are the basic utility and infrastructure needs that need to be addressed, and we're recommending that we initiate those for a couple of reasons. One, to gain a better understanding of what the limitations are on the property, but at the same time, if we go through what staff is recommending, complete the CEQA analysis, we would also know what are the conditions by which this project could develop, and under what conditions could they incrementally occur. So an applicant coming to the city to develop the property, we're going to have a packet of information that's going to be readily available. It'll be a public document, and they would be able to make financial decisions and development decisions based on this information. We are recommending, or at least initially thinking that it would probably be a mitigated neg deck, but we will look at all opportunities to expedite that process and make sure that we adequately review the site. Land appraisals, we're recommending that the City Council authorize some funds to conduct some appraisals to look at property acquisition in Old Town. We've had discussions with property owners who have indicated a desire to discuss the sale of their property on a negotiated basis. So the first step in that process is to get an appraisal done in order to initiate those discussions. Staff is recommending that all funds be appropriated from the Redevelopment Agency bond funds in the amount of $52,000 for all work efforts described in this report. That concludes my report, unless there are any questions.
Council members, any questions, discussions?
Nope.
Great idea.
It is a great idea. Yep.
Kind of a lengthy recommendation. Would you read the recommendation?
Approve an appropriation authorizing various infrastructure analyses as set forth in this report, as well as undertaking property appraisals consistent with the City of Galt Economic Development Roadmap policies and numerous goals and objectives of the Redevelopment Agency Implementation Plan.
That's the recommendation from the staff. Is there a motion?
I'll make the motion to accept.
Thank you, Councilman Singleton. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilman Cruz. Roll call vote, please.
Okay, Board Member Powers?
Aye.
Singleton?
Aye.
Shelton?
Aye.
Cruz?
Aye.
Payne?
Aye. We will adjourn redevelopment and reconvene to the City Council. City Clerk's report.
Okay, thank you. At this time, I actually have 2 committee appointments. The first one is the Historic Preservation Advisory Committee. I received a call from Gary Barrett, who resigned from the committee last week. This is an appointment made by the entire council. You do have one letter of interest in your packet from Leanne McFadden. Part of the recommendation of the committee is that a planning commissioner sit on this committee, so that would fulfill that. It's not a requirement, but fulfill that guideline. So at this time, I would recommend that council appoint Leanne McFadden to fill the vacancy.
So moved.
We need a motion on this, and it's full council approval.
It is full council.
Is there a motion, please?
Down here.
Andy,
Same time as you were talking, sorry.
Okay. Mr. Shelton moved. Is there a second?
Full second.
Roll call.
Okay, I'm back in City Council. Vice Mayor Powers?
Aye.
Councilmember Singleton?
Aye.
Councilmember Shelton?
Aye.
Councilmember Cruz?
Aye.
Mayor Payne?
Aye. Passed.
One more committee.
Okay.
Measure R committee. This committee comes due in April. They are 3-year terms, which is why it's a little bit different than all of your December appointments. And you do have 3 vacancies on this committee. And you should have 2 letters of interest in front of you and 2 letters of interest in your packet.
Who are the 2 that are still on it?
Actually, none of the incumbents expressed interest. I'm sorry.
Oh, none of them?
None of them.
I would like to make a suggestion if I could. I'd like to recommend this go back to staff and we re-advertise the positions for this. In say another month, we'll revisit it, see if we got more applications for this position.
Okay, we did advertise twice in the Galt Herald.
Perhaps we could try the Lodi, maybe we get more interest. Some people get Lodi, they don't get Galt, and vice versa, so maybe we could just advertise
The next meeting.
We can put on the website as well.
in the website.
It's, they're quarterly meetings, so the next meeting is, Lauren?
Oh, it's this month.
Well, we might have to push that back a little, a month.
That's just my recommendation of council,
If
so.
we bring it back in 2 weeks, will we meet the quarterly time frame or not?
No.
No. Oh, okay.
I would suggest we,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm kind of with that one too.
Okay, we're saying, Councilman Singleton has recommended that we, postpone the
Well, we don't-
selection and advertise.
We have 3
But-
seats open, and I just now got these, tonight, and I'd really like to be able to research a little bit better and, you know, look the best person suited for the position.
I concur with you. I would like to be able to, personally, I'd like to pick up the phone and talk to them.
Yeah.
Good.
Okay.
I mean,
Makes
just,
sense.
And we can do another advertisement.
Okay.
and maybe, could we
Try
bring
to
it
get a
back
few
like
more
in 2
letters.
weeks?
I think so. I think we can do that. If that's a
Will you be able to do it?
consensus,
Maybe
Hopefully, if we can get letters in
Oh,
that
okay.
short a
We
period
can
of
let it-
time. If I have some letters to bring back to you, I will definitely bring it back in 2 weeks. If I don't, I can still agendize it and, talk about it again.
okay.
Okay.
There seems to be a feeling that we want to take a look at this, so, the consensus is that we will postpone it and look at it at the next council meeting. And, I would also comment, this is a little bit off, that I'm hoping that all of our commissions and committees will be part of our town hall community gathering on May the 9th. So you get to meet the people that make decisions about, Measure R as well.
Can I just bring tailgating onto that one? Remember way back when you said, it might be nice to present them to the city council too, to all the new, well, I think it'd be nice one time to have each, like the planning commission and Parks and Rec, and all of them come in and just be introduced to the city and to city council.
As soon as we get all those positions filled, I think it'd be great.
Well, we've got a bunch of them all filled already.
Yeah, yeah.
That's a good idea, and we can also do it at our special meeting, so everyone will have a chance to meet them. Did you get that?
I got it.
Got it all?
I got it.
Okay.
And let's check my reminders here. Just a couple. Parks and Recreation Commission meeting will be held here on April 13th at 7 p.m. 13th. What did I say? No, April 13th. I don't think I pronounced that right. On April 14th, the Planning Commission meeting here in the council chambers at 6:30 as well, and that takes us to our next council meeting.
Comments by staff?
I don't think so.
No? No comments by staff? Comments by council members? We'll start with Councilman Singleton.
Yeah, I do have a few things to say. It is agreed that we are a new council here. Most of you may or may not know, most of us up here, some are not available, but we're available 4 to 5 days a week if y'all want to come talk to us. I'm talking like you now, huh? Some people aren't used to council working together so well as we do. We do research the packets we get. We talk to folks, so we're prepared. If we have questions for our city manager or our attorney, we do so without hesitation. So we're more prepared, so things flow a little bit better in our councils. I know a lot of people are used to arguing up here. We try to not do that. We have some good things coming to Galt, and I think most people will be pleasantly surprised. The council and staff, they will continue to work together to do what's good for the city and its citizens. And I also want to mention that April 9th, they're still doing the benefit for Ron Casado at the Estrelita Ballroom, 5:30 to 7:30. And Holy Ravioli will be doing the catering to that, I guess. And I hope we can get some citizens out there to support Ron and his effort to fight this illness he has. That's all I have.
Thank you, Vice Mayor.
Well, I think you can each add something to this, but last week, Barbara, Jason, and I attended a meeting of all the mayors and vice mayors and city managers of all the cities around this area. And it was really a nice time to get together and meet our other officials from other cities. and to realize that a lot of us are facing the same problems now, whether we're a small city or a big city. It was held up in Folsom at the community college up there, and they have it was in a beautiful, it was called 3 Stages Auditorium, and they have 3 stages. It was a $50 million building that they built. It was awesome. It looks like San Francisco. I'm not kidding. So it is a great place. They've got a lot of venues going on down there. So if there's, you want to go and see a choir or hear a comedian or see a play or see the Pink Floyd Experience, I was amazed at what a beautiful place it was. And it was really nice to get to meet everyone else and talk about the homelessness and the grants that are coming up for that and the problems that are facing all of the cities. And I think we had a really good time. Oh, and one other thing I did want to say too. This is just kind of a little story, but let's lighten it up once in a while. I go to yard sales a lot, and the first place that I always go when I go to a yard sale is to the book section because I'm kind of a book junkie. So I saw this little book there about 6 months ago, and I sometimes think things happen for a reason, and it was for 25 cents, and so I picked it up and put it on my bookcase. And I was sick last weekend, so I was sitting around looking for something to read, and I said, I think I'm going to get that little book that I got, and it was the Constitution of the United States. So I do want to thank a constituent out there for telling us to read it again. It was really an interesting book to see how it all came about, and don't quiz me on it because I was a little sick at the time, but I just wanted to let you know that I carry it around with me now, and I'm thankful that you mentioned it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Councilman Shelton.
Believe it or not, no, I don't.
Councilman
Have a great week.
I have nothing.
I wanted to invite everybody to the Egg Extravaganza, which is April 16th, down on C Street and 4th. There's going to be something for everybody. For the old timers, we're going to have a great car show. For the kids, there's going to be, of course, the Easter egg hunt, games, old-fashioned games, sack races, stuff like that. There'll be face painting. We'll also have the golden egg raffle, so that's probably for mom. And if you get the golden egg, you get $100 cash. But mostly it's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to have a demonstration by a lady that teaches a class, actually, on how to decorate eggs. I don't mean for Easter. They're more like the Fabergé eggs. So that should be pretty interesting. It should be a fun time. So bring your kids out. There's going to be a little walking parade. And I have got a car full of Easter bonnets that I'm going to pass out, and you get to wear your Easter bonnet in the Easter parade. They're great, big, giant hats, so it's going to be fun. And for the toddlers, we're going to decorate strollers. Even the new factory that just opened, I don't know if you're familiar with it, it's down on Lincoln Way. It's a skateboard factory with clothes and everything. We're trying to coerce the skateboarders to be part of the parade and wear their Easter bonnets. I don't know. They're pretty macho, so they may not do that. But I think
shaking their head.
They'll think that's okay. We'll just take them on their skateboards. But anyway, I think it's going to be fun, and like I said, something for everybody. You're all invited to come out. It's free. There'll be food. It'll be great. And in closing, I just want to make a comment. People look at this council and they say, they're robots or something. But then you listen to the news and you listen to what's going on in Washington, D.C., where those lawmakers can't agree, and it could stop the country. And you look at the state of California and you see the same thing going on. And I'm saying, well, I don't get it. We're getting along. We've set some goals for our city manager. He's managing those goals. Those goals were set by the city council, so it kind of makes sense that we're all on the same page and that we should be getting along, and we don't always. I know a couple of council meetings ago I voted against putting more money in the restaurant. But I got outvoted, and I think we're going to be proud that we have the restaurant. So, you know, it's the cup half full or half empty. I think our glass is half full, and I think when we get past this little hump in the economy and everything, I think you're going to see that Galt is ready to move forward, and I think you'll all be proud of us. And with nothing else to say, we will adjourn the meeting. Thank you, and everybody have a good evening.
Thank you.